Hello, everybody, it's Tim here again. Another video, this time for the movie In a Violent Nature. Now, In a Violent Nature has actually been out for a while. I believe it was shown at some film festivals and maybe some conventions. Sorry about that. Before it was put on, what the hell's the name of that streaming channel? I forget. It was put on something, some streaming channel, Screen Box, maybe something like that. I can't remember what the hell it was called. But it was put on one of those streaming type channels or whatever after that, pretty much. But it got a lot of good reviews from when it was shown at festivals and stuff, and maybe conventions, I'm not for sure, but it was shown at festivals. But it got a lot of good reactions and good critical reviews, so I figured give it a shot. But then once it got like more widespread release and a lot of people got to seeing it, I saw a lot of negative reactions to this movie on Twitter. So it seemed like critics maybe generally liked it, I think, but there was a lot of negative reactions to it. I'll go ahead and say from 1 to 4 stars, and in terms of a thumbs up, I liked it. I'd give it a 3 out of 4 and a thumbs up. This would get a thumbs up from me. This is a good film. I do not think it is a great film, but I do think it is a good film for what it is. This is a good slasher film. Pretty much what the film changes and what's new about it in terms of the slasher genre is it focuses from the killer's perspective in terms of like a first-person POV for like almost the entire movie. It does switch every now and then, which I didn't like totally, but I kind of got over it. And the ending drags on a little bit when the last victim is like getting away in this car or whatever, and this actress who's there, which I believe the actress was also in Friday the 13th Part 2, maybe. But she just keeps talking on and on about this story about a bear and stuff, and I get it's supposed to be like a reference to the killer, how the killer's like an animal or whatever, but it went on too long. You don't really need that. This movie could have ended quicker, or they could have just sped up the scene. The movie does have a slow pace, and for the most part, I think it works. It does good at setting mood and all that, and I think it plays throughout the movie well. This movie is well directed. Story-wise, it's nothing different you haven't seen before. If you've seen any number of slasher films, there is nothing new here in terms of the writing, and the victims are weak by focusing on the killer and his point of view and everything, and that is a good idea. It's like this is basically a Friday 13th movie, really. The killer, I believe his name is John instead of Jason. That's basically the only difference, but this easily could just be Jason. You could easily just put this in the Friday 13th franchise and just see it as another Friday 13th movie, like, honestly. It's just pretty much that. It's pretty much just, like I said, a Friday 13th movie just from the killer's POV, and you just see him walking around or whatever. And you see him once without, like, with his face or whatever, his messed up, deformed face. And I believe when they even tell the story about the killer, he was mentally challenged. So, is an exact copy of Jason. And the killer goes and gets like a mask, which is like an old like fireman's type helmet or whatever. I like the look. I thought it looked good. And so you follow the killer around from like different POV shots or whatever of him roaming through the woods, and you literally see him walking like the entire time, which is kind of neat, like a video game character. And you see him like go up to this dude's house or whatever, where he like sees this locket that his mom gave him, which is why he's back from the dead, because like some teenagers messed with it and removed it. So stupid kids doing stupid shit, standard slasher movie setup, story. And so he goes there and he's in this guy's house or whatever, and he thinks this necklace or whatever hanging in there is the one he's looking for. Is not, belongs to like the dude that's working there or lives there. He shoots at the killer goes off with him, and the dude gets caught in the bear trap or whatever, or animal trap that I believe he set up. The killer takes him off, kills him. You get a funny sequence though later in the movie where the killer's like getting the fireman mask or whatever at like this lodge, park ranger lodge or whatever, and he's got the body of one of the people he killed, and I believe that his fist is like through the person's head, and he basically slings the body into the glass that's got the helmet and stuff in it, and he just takes it out after he smashed it with the person's body. That was funny. That did make me laugh. I chuckled there. Like I said, though, by focusing on the killer's point of view, the victims in this movie are even more cookie cutter than what they would be in just a regular standard slasher film, because all the focus is mostly on the killer here, because it's all from his point of view. So the standard stalk teen characters stand out more uh, than the traditional slasher films that focus more on them, because you don't really have time to like really plan or focus on building up a final girl or final boy in this type of slasher movie the way this one's made, because it's all from the killer's POV. So all the characters are forgettable here. You don't give a shit about any of them. But when the last girl gets away at the end, I do like how the movie did end finally, because she like leaves the necklace or whatever laying in the forest and the gas jug, and then finally the movie cuts back and you see that the necklace is gone and the killer's gone, so you get the idea that he went back to rest basically, and she is gonna get away, even though she's still paranoid that he could be out there, but he's not gonna be. Other than the movie just dragging at the end with the person who's driving the vehicle who rescued her on the side of the road that happened to run into her just blabbing about the bear story. Other than that, that's pretty much my only big thing with it, because I don't mind the slow pace in this movie because it is used mostly to build atmosphere, but when it got to that did just feel like dragging. It just felt unnecessary, just too long. I get the idea of it, and it could have worked if it was just shortened. The rest of the movie, some of the kills are kind of weak for the first part of the movie, a little bit of it. They're a little weak, and like when the chick, like just one chick gets drugged down in the water, whatever, you see the POV of the killer like going into the water, and then you see her get like drugged down. Expected like some blood or something to come up or whatever, but there wasn't a lot of gore there. Like if you're gonna imitate Friday the 13th, you need to bring the gore. But the movie makes up for it later on after this, for when he kills the chick, this yoga chick or whatever, and like knocks a hole through her chest, and then takes like this hook and puts it on her head and like pulls it over through like through the whole inner stomach, where he's like knocked it through her, either her stomach or her chest, and pulls her head through it and like kicks her down over the hill. That was a good kill, best kill of the movie, easily, at least for me. Later on in the movie, there is this like park ranger character or whatever that does shoot the killer and like takes him down, and then he like, I think, breaks his neck, paralyzes him or whatever, and then he like drags his body slowly, puts it in front of this device that's gonna like come down, and first he uses it to cut his hand off, and then he uses it to cut the dude's head off. I will say this: you can tell, for the most part, this movie's budget, where it is low, it does work in its favor, because the majority of slasher films' budgets are low, because you don't really need a high budget for a slasher film. You just don't. But here, though, you can tell the budget was probably a little lower than traditional slasher films, because when they got that park ranger's like dude's body laying there or whatever, you can tell it's a fake body. You can tell, and the head does not look real, even though I appreciate that they had the eyes moving or whatever. You can tell. But yeah. And it does take so long for him to kill the dude that it does give the other victims like plenty of time who run off to just like get the hell out of Dodge to make it to a vehicle or something, or even run down the road or find a scooter or something. You would think that maybe he would want to move maybe a little faster, because he does take his time with this park ranger dude. Why wouldn't he just like kill the dude instantly? Why waste so much time with him, giving the other prey like so much extra time to get away? Don't really get that, but it was still kind of fun to see the dummy get his head sliced off. There's another cool kill where he takes like a rock, I believe, and like squishes a dude's head. That was cool. But like I said, some people, I think, are, from what I've seen, are going to be disappointed in this movie, just because they're just not going to appreciate the artistic style to it. I think they're going to be like, well, the whole movie's from the killer's point of view, that's the gimmick. I mean, is that it? Like, what else is there? I think they're just going to not care, because it's just, going to be the killer's POV of taking out victims. But that's what makes it unique. That is what's there. And that might not be enough for some people. It's enough for me. Not enough to make it a great movie, but it's enough to make it a 3 out of 4 good movie, thumbs up film. If you're a fan of slasher films, or you really love slasher films, this is a unique spin on the slasher film mold and idea. And for me, that's enough. Seeing it from the killer's point of view and all that, that's enough for me to have a good time with this film. Do I need a sequel? They're making a sequel. I know they are. It's in development. Do I really need one? Probably not. The only way I'd really be okay with a sequel to this is if they did something like, if this is pretty much a homage to Friday the 13th, if they were able to do like a homage to like other Friday the 13th movies or something. Maybe if they had the budget, they could do like a homage to Jason Takes Manhattan and have the killer's POV, like with him going around killing people in the city. That would be awesome, but they're probably not going to have the budget for that. So I'm not really sure if I need a sequel to this, but hopefully they can come up with something creative for it. But overall, I'd give this a 3 out of 4. I liked it. I didn't love it, but it was good, and I did like it, and I would definitely pick this up on Blu-ray and DVD. So this would get a recommend from me. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.